Hey guys, how are you? Good morning.
Morning, Bill.
All
Hi,
Good
Tom.
right,
morning.
we got the star group
Morning.
here
Good
today.
morning.
Good morning.
All right. Oh man, everyone's all talking. This is going to be great. I want this to be a little interactive today. Okay, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping and calendaring really fast before we move into the 6 personal perspectives. Okay. So the first thing I want to make sure is on everybody's calendar is this Thursday from 1 to 3. This Thursday from 1 to 3 is going to be Chart Masters. There is information about that in the newsletter from the office. And if you are ever if you've ever said to yourself, I don't know how to answer the question on how the market is, or I don't know how to speak in terms of kind of where we are from a historical perspective, or I don't know kind of when somebody says, how's the market? If you don't know how to respond, you got to be in this class. Okay. What Gary Keller says we all should strive to be is the economist of choice. Okay. The economist of choice. So what that means is you have to understand what's going on in the economy, right? You should have a rough idea of what the interest rate market's doing. You should be staying in touch with Shelter and the other lender teams that you might be working with on new loan programs, or what they changed with the FHA thing the other day, right? With student loan percentages and stuff, right? You should know what employers are coming into town, right? It's like I said the other day, what if, I want you to imagine that you were driving along Alpharetta, right near where the Avalon is, and you were driving around that area to show a piece of property, let's say like however many years ago it was when it was being put up, let's say 7 or 8 years ago, right? And the buyer that you were driving around said, hey, what's going on over there? They got a bunch of cranes and stuff. What's going on over there? And you're like, I have no idea. If that was the conversation I had with my agent, I'd say, okay, you can pull over now. We're done, right? So we have to be the economist of choice. So I'm not saying you have to know every home and every school district and every part of town, but you ought to spend some time becoming more and more familiar with what's going on in the marketplace, right? Chart Masters is a great starting point for that. Fair?
Hey,
Okay.
Bill, real quick, there are some tax changes coming beginning of next year that people selling houses are going to want to know about. The capital gains tax is going to be going up big time. And it may be worth telling everybody you know that now might be the best time to sell.
Is that something that's in Congress, or is that something that's already been passed, or what?
No, they're talking about it. They're still, and the worst part about it is they're talking about these retroactive start dates. So because they could make it start like last April. So anyway, they're still mulling it over, but it could be as much as an 82% increase in capital gains tax, which
Thanks.
is
Well,
it's
here's
going
the
from
thing.
like 25 to 43 or something ridiculous.
Well, I
Anyway,
would,
stuff
just my
stuff that
personal,
need to,
that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
right.
But if I can coach you for 1 second, um, that is, there's a fine line between when discussing that is a political discussion and when becomes a strategic discussion. A strategic discussion is once it's passed. Okay, we have a new law. How are we going to deal with this new law? And that's a strategy session and should have nothing to do with politics. Anything that you talk about prior to that with your customers can be construed, and likely would be construed, as a political hearsay scare tactic. So just be aware of that. That would be my recommendation on that topic in particular. Okay, next thing thank you for sharing that, Michael. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, as many of you know, I have a passion for one of the amazing opportunities that this company offers called Profit Share. And one of my mentors, a guy named Aaron Kaufman, is going to be speaking at Roswell next Thursday. So not this Thursday, but the following Thursday, the 5th, from 1 to 4. And he is going to be doing a class that he calls the KW effect. I posted.
Bill, you were dropping in and out.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Now I'm frozen. Can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me?